Where's the costume, Detective Gumshoe? Just on the other side of the fountain, sir! Was it out here in the open all along? No, it was discovered in the tall glass back there. We moved it out here in order to examine it more thoroughly. Let's get down to it. What do we have here? Oh, it's another pendant. Those 2 treasures in one day. How lucky is that? And hey, this pretty baby's made of platinum silver too. Another pendant on top of the one we found on Mr. Deacon. Is it possible that these 2... Hold it right there. Hands off, Mr. Prosecutor. You still know how to cross the line, don't you? A pendant, huh? This is a very decisive piece of evidence. How can you tell? Look here and read off what you see. Oh, and hey, it's a name that's engraved on this. Aha! We have you now, Miss Kidnapper. No, you don't understand. Molly. I can't believe you were one of my kidnappers. Lance? You're kidding! Miss Pops was one of the kidnappers? Yes. It was me. I held Lance hostage. So Miss Pops is one of the kidnappers. But even knowing that, I can't call this case solved. Or over. Hey, guys. Case closed. Get the call ready, and I mean the special one for this young lady.
Hold it!
Again, Mr. Prosecutor, what is it this time? Are you proposing that Miss Pops is also the culprit in the murder case? What happened? I thought Officer Meekins was your suspect. We found it. Found what? That officer's gun. He literally dropped it in the middle of a thick patch of grass. Your country's police are a sham. Just look at how careless they are. Who are you calling a sham? The officer's gun didn't show any sense of having fired, so it can't be the motor weapon. Officer Meekins has been put on charges, I see. And that's when a brand new suspect came walking onto the scene. The motor weapon only happened because the kidnappers started fighting amongst themselves. As I recall, it was you who said that, right, Mr. Prosecutor? Miss Pops, did you really kill Mr. Deacon? Yes, I killed him. I can't believe it! Thanks for the confession.
Objection!
Agent Lang, it's much early to declare this case closed. Look at you, so sure of yourself. We've got the culprit's own confession and some very incriminating evidence. What more could you ask for? Miss Lauren Pops. Yes? I want to hear it from you. Tell me your side of all that has happened today, from the kidnapping to the murder. But why? I'm a kidnapper and the killer. Isn't that enough? fine if you're the one behind everything, but only if that is the truth. Now then, will you tell us the truth? Or is there some reason why you can't? By the change of heart, I think I'd enjoy seeing you soak away as the losing mutt. Alright, you heard me. Let's hear about all the evil deeds you committed today. The one who came up with the kidnapping plan was the butler, Mr. Deacon. We knew that we could get Woodsman holding Lance hostage. Mr. Amato would pay anything to get his son back after all. Anything was going according to plan, but as soon as we got the money, Mr. Deacon turned on me and tried to kill me. Now, are you satisfied? Ceda's confessed to her crimes a second time. At least you had the guts to admit what you've done. I can at least expect that much. Miss Pops, is what you said really the truth? Yes, it is. That is the truth. It certainly isn't the whole truth. Because there's something that seems a bit too improbable in her confession. Came up with the kidnapping plan was the butler, Mr. Deacon. We knew that we could get Wits by holding Lance hostage. Mr. Mono would pay anything to get his son back after all. Everything was going according to plan, but as soon as we got the money, Mr. Deacon turned on me and tried to kill me.
Hold it!
Why do you think he did? I have no idea. Maybe he had planned on doing so from the very beginning. Miss Pops? He planned to kill Miss Pops from the very beginning. Is that ever really likely to happen? Yes, I do. So where's an objection? I'm sorry, but I don't believe what you just claimed is all that likely. Huh? I don't think Mr. Deacon would have ever been capable of killing you. But why? We were total strangers. It's not uncommon for people to kill each other.
Hold it!
Miss Pops, you really are clueless, aren't you? What do you mean? You never knew what your role in the kidnapping was, but you know who you really are. But I do, and I can show you with this piece of evidence. This proves that Mr. Deacon wouldn't have been able to bring himself to kill Miss Pops.
Take that!
Why are you showing this to me? So what about the pendant? This pair of rings, along with this piece of evidence, shows who you really are.
Take that!
These two pendants resemble each other, wouldn't you agree? Hey, you're right! They're the same color and they're even made of the same material. I believe that these two pendants are actually one. Ah! Shall we give it a try? Wow! It's totally Pegasus! But why? Why does my pendant match up with Mr. Deacon's? You're a smart lady. I'm sure you can imagine why that might be. No! That can't be! So what you make a set? It's just another trinket. It's not as though this changes anything. You lack imagination, identifying. Very well, I'll show you with this evidence. This is the piece of evidence that gives meaning to the Pegasus pendant.
Take that!
Oliver Deacon was just an ally for this man. His real name was Colin Devorak, the name that is etched on the horse pendant. What? An Alice? I suppose he had to hide the fact that he was a felon somehow in order to live. It makes sense given what is written in Mr. Turnabout's dossier. What I really wanted to point out was this. The specific section is what reveals the true meaning behind those elements.
Take that!
Mr. Devoy has one daughter. Her name is Lauren Hobbs. It's a lie! That person was not my father! He couldn't come out and tell you he was your father because he was in hiding. Oh, I believe he was trying to secretly watch over you. You still believe that a man like that could kill the daughter he was separated from? Even that such a man would allow his daughter to get involved in a kidnapping plot?
Not so fast!
What is so funny, Agent Lang? You're good at making things up in your head and deciding it's the truth, aren't you? What are you trying to say? You're thinking as much too innocent. After all, I've thought of another possibility. Is that so? Well, let's hear it. I'll grant you that the two of them are father and daughter. But is it possible that they both knew that fact? There's no coincidence that the reunited pair became involved in the House of Amano. And the two of them made good use of their meetings to plan this little kidnapping. Wouldn't you say my scenario is perfectly probable as well? So this is his version of how things might have been. You have any proof that they didn't know of their true relationship, right? And you're saying that the two of them committed the kidnapping together? That's right. As one really rotten family. Is that really what happened? I'd better take a long, hard look at the evidence. I'll grant you that the two of them are father and daughter. Isn't it possible they both knew that fact? There was no coincidence that the reunited pair became involved in the House of Amano. As the two of them made good use of their meetings to plan this little kidnapping.
Objection!
This kidnapping wasn't planned by just two people alone. And what kind of proof do you have of that? Quite simply, there were 3 kidnappers. 3? 4 costumes were sold from the Wild Wild West area's back room. We found one of them in the kidnapper's hideout. But as for the other 3, we can assume they were being worn by 3 different people. We also found a set of 3 cups and 3 folding chairs that were used in the hideout. The archery points to a 3-man group. And I believe this third person is the real mastermind behind the kidnapping. Who? Who is this mastermind? Is it you the brains behind the kidnapping?
Take that!
Lance Amano? Yes, this abduction was in fact schemed up by Lance himself. Recall what he said when he appeared before us. You see the faces of your kidnappers? No, I didn't see their faces, but 2. 1 was a woman. However, there were 3 kidnappers, which is in direct contradiction to what he said. But, I know I only saw 2 people. This guy was being held hostage. It's possible he couldn't see all 3 of them. It's about where you're being held. I have my doubts about what happened then. Lance, would you mind telling us what happened while you were being held captive? I really don't remember much anymore. Honest. If I don't tell you at least something, you won't believe me at all, will you? I was kidnapped yesterday morning. They had me shut in that room blindfolded the entire time. The kidnapper suddenly disappeared around that time I heard rain falling outside. My hands were cuffed, but it was a stroke of luck that they left me alone. I made my escape and ran away from that room as fast as I could. Through the underground passageway, I presume. Are you okay? Sorry, I really didn't want to recall that horrible ordeal, but now you believe me, right? No, not quite yet. How could you not? Why'd you look at me with icy daggers in your eyes? Because he's a prosecutor, and because they're all like that. I'll have you know it's a thing. A prosecutor's eyes are for discarding the truth. And so they be interpreted to be court times, then so be it. There's a sticking point in Lance's testimony. Let's see what he offers up when I push a little. I was kidnapped yesterday morning. They had me sit in that room blindfolded the entire time. The kidnapper suddenly disappeared around the time I heard rain falling outside. My hands were cuffed, but it was a stroke of luck that they left me alone. I made my escape and ran away from that room as fast as I could.
Hold it!
How did you manage to escape? I wanted to just get out of there, but the door leading outside was locked. Which is why I had to use the underground passageway to make my escape. I remember our escape to be equally as hard. This is an invaluable piece of testimony. I mustn't let it go unexamined. The door leading outside was locked, that's why I had to use the underground passageway.
Objection!
You say that the door leading out was locked, but was it really? We're talking about that room behind the saloon up front, right? Look, I heard that it took quite a few minutes to get that thing open. Right, Sheena? Yes, that's correct. Then take a look at this. What is that? A sword? It's not especially reliable one if it's broken like that. Allow me to start from the end. My conclusion is that the door was never locked. It was simply held shut by this sword, which was used to jam the handle. Then, even though your hands will come together, you could still use them. If that's the case, then why did you not just simply remove the sword and escape? Well, wait, didn't I? I was disoriented. Yes, that's it. I didn't notice it. As if I should accept such a bold-faced lie. You locked yourself in that room because you had to make yourself look like the victim. You did not, in fact, possess the key to the door. That is why you used the plot point to improvise and create a prison of your own very own.
Not so fast!
You've been making this guy out to be one of the kidnappers for some time now. I wonder if you've forgotten something very important along the way. And what would that be? A motive. What else? Do you honestly think that an uptight, pure boy like him would hatch up a completely pointless scheme instead of kidnapping himself?
Objection!
This proves that Lance did indeed have a motive to commit this crime.
Take that!
To put it simply, Lance had a very urgent need for money. This is hardly your typical lumber. It is in fact a collections bill. It appears our upstanding boy had accumulated quite a debt. Isn't that right, Lance? Looks like it's hard being the son of a rich man, too. Must be rough when you have to resort to stealing from your old man, huh? Alright, I give up. I abducted myself. Lance! It's over, Lolly. In this life, really all bound to our fates after all. All I wanted was to go to a new town, somewhere where no one would know us. I want us to be well off with that 1 million, but now that dream is over. Oh, Lance! You're giving yourself up? Yes. I plan to run away from this ward with my Lolly. I'll not even help us with the plan, but then he had to go and stab us in the back. He turned on you. Maybe he didn't want to split the ransom money, that's my guess. It happened almost right after you made the drop-off. When we were alone, he attacked me all of a sudden. After a brief struggle, I was able to contain him and keep him under control. We left him inside that room as Lolly and I made our escape. We wore different costumes and split up. Lolly left first in the Blue Badger costume. The person Officer Meekin saw was Miss Pops. Right then, your man just had to wake up. I was careless, and he tackled me pretty hard from behind. Then Alma put on a bad Badger costume. Took the suitcase with the $1 million and ran. I contacted Omi right away and warned her that he had a gun. I had no idea that they were related, so I thought it could only end badly. I still don't believe it. That person was not my father. Because if he was, I just killed my own father. Holy, then it really was you. That man was not my father. I mean, because at the stadium, there was a bad Badger pulling the suitcase with the $1 million in it. That Badger pointed his gun at me, aiming to shoot me dead. That's why I used the gun I got from Lance. There was a gunshot. The other person crumbled to the ground and I ran, scared for my life. I think the big picture's finally coming into focus, don't you? Oh, forgive me. I didn't think it would turn into something so frightening. If only I could have protected you. So, Miss Pops, she's not her own dad without even knowing who he really was? If what she says is true. Are you saying she's lying? But why would she lie about something like that? What purpose would it serve? You would be surprised how often people lie without ever realizing it themselves, Kay. Huh? What's that supposed to mean? What I mean is listen very carefully to her confession once more, and you'll see. That man was not my father. I mean, because at the stadium, there was a bad Badger pulling the suitcase with the $1 million in it. But that Badger pointing his gun at me, aiming to shoot me dead.
Hold it!
Were you able to clearly see the gun? Yes, I got a very good look at it while it was pointed at me. Father, why would you try to shoot me? You really think a father would shoot his own daughter, Mr. Edgeworth? I don't know. I don't want to believe in myself. But it's true, my father's left arm was raised with a gun in it. Pointed straight at me, I'm about to die, I thought. Miss Pops, please calm down and take a deep breath. And then would you allow me to please hear that last statement one more time? Yes, of course. That Basil pointed the gun in his left hand at me, aiming to shoot me dead.
Objection!
I have here a dossier on your father. According to this, your father was right-handed. Then, the person pointing a gun at you from atop the stage was not Mr. Deacon.
Not so fast!
Hold on there, Mr. Prosecutor. I think you need to take a refresher course. The Bad Badger has a model gun attached to his right hand, which is why the only hand he could have held the real gun with was his left. Is it possible that it went down like that? Instantly, you paying attention to what Miss Pops was saying. Then again, I suppose I can't expect someone who has never fought in court to catch it. Enough of the smugness! Out with it already! Miss Pops told us earlier. There was a Bad Badger pulling the suitcase with the 1 million in it. According to you, the Bad Badger had the gun in his left hand, which would mean that he was pulling the suitcase with his right hand. Is that correct, Miss Pops? Yes, exactly. I'm sure it was the Bad Badger. It had those huge sunglasses on its face. If that's the case, even I can see there's a huge contradiction. Miss Pops claimed to have seen the Bad Badger, and yet the Bad Badger had both of his hands full. These two pieces of information contradict each other, so one must be wrong. They are both correct. Impossible! That just leaves us with an irresolvable contradiction. He saw his sunglasses and beard. What if the Bad Badger wasn't wearing pants on his lower half? This proves that there was a way for the Bad Badger to freely use both of his hands.
Take that!
The costume has two parts to them, a head and a body. Oh, I get it now! The head Miss Pop saw was probably really the head of the Bad Badger. However, it is not possible that the body was that of an entirely different badger. A different badger? Yes. Or to put it more bluntly, I believe it was the lower half of this badger. The body of the Bad Badger Miss Pop really saw.
Take that!
What the heck is that? It's the Proto-Badger. Yes, and it's a simple matter of process of elimination. Miss Pops was wearing the blue Badger's costume, so we can eliminate that one. And the pink Badger's of the one color, which would have been incredibly obvious. All that is left is the Proto-Badger costume. Miss Pops, who was the one who wore the Proto-Badger costume? That would be Lance.
Not so fast!
Are you saying what I think you are? That Lance Amano donned the Bad Badger's head and pretended to be Mr. Deacon? On top of which, he planned to shoot Mr. Pops while wearing that hideous thing. The stage was set up in the stadium was nothing more than that. A setup. Its purpose was to lead Miss Pops into believing she had committed murder. Standing there in front of Miss Pops and pretending to be the victim. And all done that she would pull the trigger. I have no idea what you're talking about. So exactly, why exactly would I have had to do all that, huh? There was but one reason. Lance Amano. you are the real culprit behind the murder of Mr. Oliver Deacon. What? No! Sander, take it back. You take it back right now. Just out of curiosity, which is your dominant hand? I'm left-handed. What does it have to do with anything? Depends. According to Miss Pops, her attacker held a gun in his left hand.
Not so fast!
Who is what-handed doesn't prove a thing. And besides, they're just being absurd. It's not like the Turnabout is bulletproof. One misfire and he would have found himself dead.
Objection!
Of course, logically, if he had been shot, he probably wouldn't be here with us. However, if he had thought of it as well and prepared accordingly, that should be all the evidence you need. This is how Lance made so that he wouldn't be hit by a bullet.
Take that!
Found one half of a bad badge or costume in the hideout. A broken one. It was not the same one that the victim was wearing. Plus, it was missing something. And that something is the model gun that the bad badger can use, which can fire blanks. What? Miss Pops, where's the gun you used now? I threw it away into the sea. That makes it tough to verify what it was. Although I believe that we can safely assume that it was the model gun in question.
Not so fast!
I've heard enough. All you've been spouting so far is pure conjecture. I admit that as long as the model gun is lost to us, I can't prove I'm right. However, I can say that the probability that I am right is very high. Okay, let's pretend that you're right and that the murder at the stadium was a fabrication. In that case, where do you think the murder really took place, Mr. Prosecutor? I don't know yet. Ha! I knew you were full of it. However, I do believe that the murder took place during an earlier time frame. Hold it! Please, wait a sec. It's simply not possible. Because I saw Mr. Deacon after he was restrained by Lance. He saw the victim in the state of being restrained? I came back to the hideout long after the other two. And at that time, Lance had already subdued and restrained Mr. Deacon. He had tied Mr. Deacon secured to the beam in the room next door. After that, the two of us put on our costumes and made our escape. So Mr. Deacon must have escaped after the two of you left, right? We thought it would take too much attention if we left together, so I left first. We planned to meet up again at the stage in the stadium. Then, as I was walking through the park, I got a call from Lance on my cell phone. Oliver Lance's escape. It looked like he was waiting until I was alone. He also saw the gun from me at that time. And then the murder happened. Mr. Deacon must have overheard their plan to meet up at the stage. Well, Mr. Prosecutor, Miss Pop saw the victim with her own eyes. Which means that the victim was still alive at the time, wouldn't you agree? Why does that sound wrong to me? There must be something amiss about this account. Let's see what happens when I examine it in more detail. I came back to the hideout long after the other two. By that time, Lance had already subdued and restrained Mr. Deacon. He had tied Mr. Deacon secured to the beam in the room next door.
Hold it!
You are sure that it was Mr. Deacon that you saw? Yes, I'm sure of what I saw. Did you go into the other room to check? I had said that it was best if I didn't go too close to him. He's such a kind soul. Then are you telling me that you did not confirm that it was Mr. Deacon for yourself? I checked through the slit in the door that separates the two rooms. He had a bad badger hat on, so I'm absolutely sure that this has to be Mr. Deacon. So, blue badger head? They've had a blue bad badger hat on, so I'm absolutely sure it's Mr. Deacon.
Hold it!
So that's how Mr. Deacon was still in his bad badger costume. Yes, and? Let's dismiss with the whole situation. What now? So where's the objection? The person you saw was not the victim. What? Why not? I'll tell you why not. With this. Dismiss Pop shows us that the person you saw is not the victim.
Take that!
Miss Pops, the person you saw is not Mr. Deacon at all. Huh? The person you actually saw was this person. It was me. Huh? The person I saw was you, Mr. Edgeworth? I always thought it was a bit odd. Why would the kidnappers abduct me even after I had handed over the ransom? It's not as though I saw the face of the kidnappers. If I was them, I would have just taken the $1 million and ran. But in the end, it was a punch of all. It was to make me look like Mr. Deacon. If that were the reason for which I was abducted, then I believe we can assume that the victim was already dead at that time. Well, Lance, am I right? That's... So Miss Pops supposed to namely me with Bad Badger's head on. And then made your costume escape together. Or so you pretended. What? What do you mean he pretended? Exactly that. I believe Lance watched you escape. And then doubled back to the hideout. Probably to come and remove the Bad Badger head from my unconscious self. To create his fake prison with that pop son. He then escaped it via the passageway.
Not so fast!
Hold your tongue, boy. Don't get caught up in that tidal wave of words coming out of Mr. Prosecutor's mouth. Tidal wave? You've heard a lot come out of you. I've yet to see a shred of evidence. The victim's betrayal and his subsequent detainment. All of that could have happened while you were out cold. That's right. You were out for quite a while, Mr. Prosecutor. Even if that were the case, Miss Pops would have seen me tied to that beam. I was scared of Mr. Deacon, so I didn't go into the next room. I really have no idea if you were in there or not, Mr. Edgeworth. See, it would seem that you can't prove a thing. Hold it. Who said that? Please, wait. Mr. Amano. Oh, Miles, my boy. Looks like you're really giving it your all. And Lance, it's not good to cause trouble for others. Dad? Let's see, you're the one in charge of the investigation, correct? Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry that my son has been nothing but trouble. This probably won't make up for anything, but I have some evidence for you. Oh, do you now? Is that what I think it is? It's the Bad Badger costume the victim was wearing and a gun. I couldn't wait around for the police, so I went and found these myself. It appears that they were disposed of in the sea. Is there no one in this country who actually obeys the law? There. Now, Agent Lane, please calm down. Heck is that scrap of paper? This appears to be a letter from the chief of police. Please allow Mr. Amano complete freedom to do as he sees fit. It says... What? Chief of police? What the? Shoot, does he think he is? The person who is the highest authority in this area. cop from this land. So I'm not bound by the laws of your country. Now. This wasn't meant to be strong-armed or anything. It's just a request. I want to ask that you please respect the laws of the land. I can't really say no to that. I will return to the topic at hand. It doesn't matter who found the evidence. Its bounty remains unchanged. Alright, now, let's take a look at this new evidence. I already got the results back. And a special forensics research lab that I'm on good terms of conducted tests. I'm gonna find out the blood on this person belonged to Oliver. That's with the gun. The only thing which I can find were yours, Lord. What? Disappoints me, Miles. I can't believe that you would cause my son such stress and heartache. Thank goodness I was able to find the final pieces of evidence. With this, you have no reason left to force my poor boy around. Is it? Is it the case making pieces of evidence? I'll be the judge of that. This? It looks like there's something inside the costume head. Hey, that sparkle, I bet they're really valuable. Sorry, but they're just pieces of a mirror. Why are they in here? This is gonna be the actual mortal weapon? Bullet hole. Looks kind of burnt around the edges. Wait, those bone marks were left by the gunpowder. This is a most important fact. Why is that? It is proof that the victim was shot at point blank range. Are these not the most definitive pieces of evidence you've ever seen? Thank you, Dad. This should be enough to convince even Mr. Edgeworth over there. Make no mistakes. There are fingerprints on that murderous gun. And they prove that it was Lorelei who killed Oliver. Oliver was also after Lorelai's life. Mr. Edgeworth was only acting in self-defense. Fingerprints on the weapon, huh? Oh no, this isn't helpful at all. Look, Mr. Edgeworth, all I want to do is to save Lorelei. But in the end, all I can do is watch on as she takes the punishment for her crimes. That may be all you can do, however. I still have a case to solve and a job to do. The job of unraveling your insidious lie. You ruined me. Why wouldn't you believe me, even in the face of all this evidence? Make no mistake, there are fingerprints on that murderous gun.
Hold it!
Those fingerprints. Are you sure they belong to Miss Pops? There's no mistake about it. Though my connections, I had the best forensics techniques money can buy before. I find that to be a bit particular. What? Are you trying to pick an argument with me? Serious objection. Frankly, I don't believe that Miss Pop's prints should be on that gun to begin with. And the reason why Miss Pop's prints should not be on that gun is...
Take that!
It's simply not possible for Miss Pops to have left any prints on the mortar weapon. Because while she was at the stadium, Miss Pops was wearing a costume. Huh? But there's been no mistake. We found fingerprints. Miss Pops, do you remember touching the gun at any time? Yes, as a matter of fact, I did hold it for a brief back in the hideout. I headed off to Mr. Deacon when he and Nance left for the haunted house. Retrieve the win some money, I suppose. And there you have it. That is when Miss Pop's prints found their way onto the gun. You understand now, Mr. Armano. The fingerprints do nothing to prove that Miss Pops is the murderer. But you still don't have anything to prove that she isn't the killer, right? You seem very adamant about insisting that your girlfriend is a cold-blooded killer. Oh, Lance? What? No way. I'm incredibly worried about her. That doesn't change the fact that you don't have any evidence, right? That's where you're wrong. I have the evidence. What? How? The story that Miss Pops killed the victim at the stage in the stadium. The whole affair is simply not true because that was not the real crime scene, but a setup. This proves that the real murder was not committed at the stadium at all.
Take that!
Let's take another look at the costume the victim was wearing. Then I believe we'll see why, since he was not saw at the stadium. The costume proves it.
Take that!
The bone around this bullet hole was made where the victim was shot at point-blank range. Ah, so then you mean the murderer Miss Orbach shot the same when he was... Yes, he saw two people, but they were separated by a distance. If the victim was indeed shot from below the stage, there shouldn't be a gunpowder bomb. Ah! Look at you, Mr. Smarty Pants Prosecutor. Since you seem to know all the answers, why not tell us where the real crime scene is then? And set me up to look like Mr. Deacon back at the hideout. If that's the case, then the murder must have happened prior to that. The location where Lance and the victim were at just before I was in prison was... Got it! I know where the real scene of the murder is. The location at which Mr. Deacon was killed is here.
Take that!
I think it's not unreasonable to assume the murder took place in the haunted house. The haunted house? Yes, and I have proof that it's highly likely that the victim was killed there. The real scene of the crime was the haunted house.
Take that!
These were inside the costume the victim was wearing. The fragments of a mirror. A mirror? What does that have to do with anything? Indeed, you don't exactly expect to find pieces of a mirror inside a costume. Yeah, that's actually pretty dangerous. There's one place I can think of where there is a plethora of mirror fragments. And that is the haunted house. And Tamano, I've heard that you killed Mr. Deacon with the revolver in the haunted house. After that, you stole the blue badge over here to move his body to the Wild West area. The timing of when the blue badge was stolen confirms this as fact. Promise, my boy, say no more. Sorry, Mr. Mara, but I cannot do that.
Not so fast!
Be quiet! Yes, please, do something to stop that boy from speaking any more nonsense. Mr. Mara, correct? I meant you. Now be quiet, Gramps. How dare you! I don't need words. The only thing I require is evidence. Decisive evidence. To call these little bits decisive is a bit too presumptuous, Mr. Prosecutor. What? Shana! Wasn't there a mill in the kidnapper's hideout? Yes, there was a mill in there. A mill that's for the haunted house. See, Isn't it possible the fragments got into the costume there? But Agent Lang, there are no fragments on the floor, so the probability is very low.
Not so fast!
Probability? Langsy says, on truth's path toward probability does not exist. The only thing that does is definitive proof. The question, Mr. Prosecutor, is, do you have the definitive proof you need? Oh, Mr. Adolf, do you? Do I have solid evidence that proves the murder took place at the haunted house? The answer is no. See, so since you don't have any, shut up. I don't have the evidence yet, but son, the motor a quarter of the time I turned the ransom over. At that time, the only people at the haunted house besides myself were Lance and Mr. Deacon. I can prove that the motor took place at the haunted house. I can prove Lance's guilt and connection to the murder. What now, Mr. Edgeworth? Agent Lang, I have a special request. Yeah? I'd like to prove to you that the scene of the crime was indeed the haunted house. Why in the world are you asking the werewolf for permission? Because I don't really have a choice if I want to find the truth. Alright, permission granted, but you're not to touch a single thing. Got it? That won't be a problem. All that's important to me is that the truth be brought to light. It doesn't matter by who or how it's done as long as it is. Shana! I'm here. Put in the paperwork for the authorization immediately. Understood. I'll go get the Gateway Group's approval. Hold it. What was that? Who was that? No, no. Let's hold on for a second. There's no need to obtain approval. Mr. Amano? Agent Lang, if you would please take a look at this. What is this? Shana! It's the deed to the haunted house. The deed? Read it out loud. Gateway Land Incorporated hereby leases the property known as the haunted house to Mr. Amano for the lump sum of $1 million, paid in full cash. What? You can see I'm now the legal owner of the haunted house. Are you kidding? When did you? I ran into the owner of the park owner and we made the deal almost immediately. How quickly things move when you can prepare $1 million in the blink of an eye. That $1 million you paid, don't tell me it was. Oh, that's right. This disgusting suitcase belongs to you, doesn't it? I don't have any more use for it, so you may have it back now. You used your ransom money? My Lance is a good boy. He even apologized for the kidnapping of it. So I do believe that I will forgive him. After all, he did return the ransom money. That's the way things are, so if you would please discuss things with me from now on. Discuss? What is there to discuss? Why, permission to enter the haunted house, of course. We were busy listening to Lance's story. Someone was out there preempting us. Permission to search the haunted house is denied. End of discussing. Agent Lang, I want you to arrest that gall. And Miles, you should hurry on home now, my boy, before I really lose my temper. Mr. Amano definitely has the deck stacked in his favor here. What should I do? If I leave it like this, the truth will be lost forever.